That is Kalani, who I love. And if I had any ability to do high quality videos, I'd have like her music lead into to my video. But this is just my phone. Anyway, so today I'm doing a video on how to break away from the conveyor lifestyle. I commented on someone's post on YouTube, about how I've been able to break away from the conveyor belt lifestyle, and in response to someone who said that they wanted to break away from the conveyor belt lifestyle, and I thought that I would share in video form sort of a basic rundown of what I believe is the way to get there. So I guess, starting off this video, and answering how to break away from the conveyor belt lifestyle, the first thing that is important to address is, what is the conveyor belt lifestyle exactly? Some people may not even really understand the term, and I think people who aren't as awakened might not really even understand after an explanation, because to them there's a singular linear reality and they are going to proceed to live it. But for those who are a bit more awakened, for those who are interested in awakening more and having a lifestyle and sort of set up in life and job and career that is in sync with your internal self, you're sort of at face value aware of what conveyor belt lifestyle means, which is, having this very predictable, patterned way of living. Like, you live your childhood, probably the best part of our lives, where we're free in our imaginations to be able to do what we want, and then you kind of get sucked into this sort of machine of society where you have to go to school, and if you don't go to a college, for a lot of communities, or a good college, then immediately you're already on the fringes. You're not considered like a successful person after college. You have to have a job that makes a lot of money. Once you have that job, that 9-to-5 desk job, you need to get married, have a kid, retire. This very predictable, on weekends, go out with your friends to happy hour, where some people can find a lot of happiness and joy in that, but a lot of people feel frustrated that that lifestyle often doesn't work in harmony with the things that they really want to do or are passionate about, and that having a 9-to-5, working in the corporate world, doesn't allow them to be who they are. It stifles them personally, creatively. Even, in business, some people have this entrepreneurial instinct in them where they want to be creating their own thing, but, they just can't do it because they're stuck in this grind. And on top of that, they're surrounded by people that tell them that this is normal, just get used to it, eventually you'll come around, everyone does this. So you become even more ingrained and deep-rooted into this world, when the reality is that a lot of people have broken away from the conveyor belt lifestyle. And a lot of people are very happy outside of the conveyor belt lifestyle. And so now I will sort of proceed to go through a list that I quickly jotted down. There's definitely not a complete list, but some things that came to mind immediately, because I really wanted to get this video in today, because I really feel worked up about the topic. I'm going to go through the list. So first and foremost, to break away from the conveyor belt lifestyle is the importance of having an alternate goal or vision or dream. So it's not enough for you to simply want to not want the conveyor belt lifestyle, or to not want to work a 9 to 5, or not have a salaried job, or to not be like, a predictable person in society. To really break away from that, it's not enough to just be resentful towards that. That's not a strong motivator. So you have to have a completely alternate vision that can really kind of propel you in a different direction. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself complaining, being bitter and resentful about your situation, even if it actually is bad. The furthest you'll get is complaining about it. That's where the clear, distinct, alternate vision comes in. For example, in one of my last jobs in DC, I was working in a 9 to 5 for a publishing firm of sorts. And although it was very loosely, very, very, very loosely related to something I wanted to do, and I would say very, very loosely, which is writing. I'm really passionate about writing. It had almost nothing to do with the kind of life I wanted, the kind of work I wanted to do, but I stuck with it in part because obviously we have bills to pay and we have loans and all these things. We have so many different things that, that require that we work these jobs that give us money. So a lot of us get into these jobs not because we're so passionate about them, but because we need to pay bills. So I did have this job, but I remember feeling so resentful and frustrated and bitter every time I had to go in, because I knew every day that I walked into this job, I was just absolutely defeated, drained of energy, around people who were just negative and people who were not remotely passionate about what they wanted to do, people who weren't as awakened. They were very comfortable and happy with doing mindless tasks in front of a computer for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. That didn't have much meaning to it, and they were comfortable having a handful of vacation days a year where they could go all out and do what they wanted, only to come back to their misery. And so it wouldn't be enough for me to stick around those people and be like, oh my god, doesn't this suck here? Oh my god, doesn't suck? Like, I can't wait to leave. Because a lot of these people are so accustomed to it, they're not going to really understand what you're saying or where you're coming from. So that's when I became like more hyper focused on, on my goals, and like kind of really thought more about like, what am I willing to put up with in my life to do what I really want to do, so I don't have to put up with this. And that's, when a lot of different options came to mind and kind of built upon what I had been doing previously in my life at many points. So it wasn't new to me, which is, doing different freelancing work or working at restaurant jobs to pursue what I want to do, which is writing, creative writing, poetry, performing poetry, all these things. And having the energy, not just the time, but the mental, emotional energy to do these things. And oftentimes, even people who have 9 to 5 jobs technically do have the time to pursue an alternate passion, but they don't have the energy to do so because the demands of their main job is such that it takes away all inspiration, all sense of enchantment and wonder, and everything that is so important to lead a great life. So I started, for one, thinking about the life I wanted, which is one, I wanted to be a freelancer, so working for myself, working from home a lot of the time, or coffee shops or whatever, as opposed to working for someone. That's like I really, really started wanting that, like, specifically. And then I also started to want, the emotional sort of capacity to be able to pursue my poetry. Because, when you're in an office corporate environment, things like the arts often feel frivolous, or you don't feel like an artist, and I don't know, for me it was a big thing. So yeah, I did restaurant work, I done different freelancing opportunities. Like, there's so much freelancing work out there, and if you really, it's not something you can like jump into overnight. But I've done a lot of editing and copy editing work before, as a writer, and through different agencies that help you, kind of link you with um, different agencies or clients. So I had done that a lot throughout the years, and then, done that as well as I've worked in the service industry in the restaurant world many years, as a waitress, as a server, as a host. Um, and to those who say, all that stuff isn't realistic or isn't prestigious, I'll get to that. So, one, have an alternate vision. And not only an alternate vision, a vision that is so big that it kind of puts your current reality in the shadows. So you have no choice but to be pulled up. So, that's step one. Step two, and this is closely linked, which is your value system, your character, your value system, is that really think about what you value in your life. And if you consistently think about those things, then those are the things that you're going to be incrementally gravitating towards, the kinds of people you're going to be incrementally gravitating towards spending your downtime with. And again, it's not going to be like a one-hit wonder where you should expect a change overnight or even in a month or a year. But slowly, if you're consistent about what values you want to bring forth in your life, you will, and really think about those like consistently, constantly, you'll find yourself in a position where you're like, oh, I'm with people who are very similar to me, not in like, like me, but I can connect with them, and like they're also people who fill me and inspire me and kind of build me up, or I'm inspired by their passion, how they pursue their passion, and you will find that, you know, that has a lot to do with your value system. So, for example, I think sometimes people are murky about what their values are, and that's why they end up staying in situations where they end up feeling miserable. So, for example, in your 9 to 5, oftentimes people end up staying in the corporate world, even put that to the point past where they're more than comfortable, is that they want more and more and more and more money. They want more and more and more prestige. They want more and more societal acceptance. And that's, again, not necessarily anything wrong with that if those truly give you an intrinsic sense of joy, but that's all contingent on your value system. I think for a lot of people, the reality is that they have to pay bills, and that's why they're in certain jobs. But for many people, it's also because of their value system. They're stuck in jobs that they're not happy in because they're chasing things that based on a material value system. So an alternate value system would be like, you know what? I am okay living in a small apartment. I would rather be able to have the money to travel than to have a nice car, or the money to, or just the time to go out and enjoy nature and be outside and do that kind of thing, rather than be in a big house, nice cars, big vacations, and find myself in a job that I have to keep up with just to sustain these things that I don't know if I even really want anymore. So materialism is very important. What do you really want and what do you really need? I consider myself a minimalist. I have, I think, few possessions. Even when at my previous apartments, like all my things can be packed into like a few suitcases. Like I really don't have many things. And I find that some people are paralyzed by that. They need things, like they need to collect and buy and shop. But I feel liberated by the lack of possessions because it makes it easier, first for me, like it frees up my mind and my time, but also it allows me to spend that money on other things that I enjoy. Um, Again, I'm saying these things as a beginner. I'm not someone who's advanced in the lifestyle that I want to be leading right now. I'm in the process and the journey, but these are the things that I think that have worked for me so far and will continue to guide me. So yeah, your value system. Do you want to, on a I guess a different, like a deeper level of value systems? It's like, do you want to be able to like share a message or be of service to someone, you know? Like, do you want your life to be used in service to something or a cause or something, right? That speaks to your value system. So do you want to, raise awareness on, XYZ issue? Do you want to open a school for XYZ populations around the world? Do you want to be an artist? Like I want to be an artist, a writer, so I can kind of, one, pursue my passion, but also be like a South Asian voice activist, because a lot of South Asian women are trained not to be vocal, not to be creative and artistic. And I feel like that for me is like the influence I want to have in the world, Um, and that's a very broad thing, but that's kind of loosely what I really, really want, to have that sort of influence, be like an influencer through in the process of me pursuing my stuff, my creativity, my art. The activism, I guess, would be a byproduct. And yeah, so that's the value system thing. I don't wake up thinking, like, small things really. I don't wake up thinking, oh my gosh, when am I gonna get married? When will I have a diamond ring? Like, when will I be able to buy this and that and the other? Like, just don't wake up thinking those things. I wake up thinking about my life in terms of my dreams, my passions, like, and conversely also my fears. Never like after material things. And I think that's been something that's been ingrained in me over so many decades, actually, that like it's kind of normal, like it's become like a default thing. But I find that I should probably definitely make that a point, because I sometimes when I'm zapped out of my world and into other people's sort of worldviews, I realize like people are often very motivated by material things. So yeah, value system. Let me turn on the light in my room so this doesn't look so ghost-like in the dark as the sun is setting. Okay. Value system also has to do with character. So character is that, this is more of like a micro thing, like compared to value system, I would say. Not really small, but like, I don't know. Character is like when you're unhappy in a situation, the temptation is to complain, as I said, but to instead think about coming up with solutions, Think about being someone that is a problem solver, not someone who is consistently focusing on the problem and complaining about it. So that speaks to character, coming up with a solution. So what is the solution you want to come up with? And that it's not just a solution, it comes with a mentality of being a problem solver, being someone who approaches things from a positive end, not a negative end. So that's that. The next point I want to make is about lifestyle changes, and this also goes back to the whole material thing. I'm not good at really distinguishing categories because they're all kind of blurred together. But this lifestyle change is more specific, and I want to get into more tangibles. Is that people will say, I don't have enough money to pursue my passion or this and that, but I often find that living more modestly for a while, or cutting out some of the things in your life that you're used to, that you think that need to be there, will be enough for you to have a little bit more leverage in being able to pursue what you want. For example, if you have to work 9 to 5, maybe for the next year or two, just accept that. Accept that mentally and think, okay, if I do have a salary cap of this, this, and this, what are the other ways I can have additional income or time or resources to put into my passion? So that would something in terms of that approach, in terms of sort of cutting down, would be you could downsize your apartment, live in a cheaper apartment. You could move, depending on your age, move back in with your parents, which is what I've done. And I know that's not something that everyone can do. So before everyone says, oh, I don't have the luxury of doing this, this, and this, like, there is a solution. You can, it won't be easy. Like, it will be an uncomfortable, often stressful, beyond your means, like testing your mental capacity limits times, where you're pushed to the brink sometimes. Like right now, I live with my family. It can be very, 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 very difficult for a lot of reasons too personal to share. But I want my passion badly enough that I decided to move home because it will give me the extreme leverage. It will further me 10 billion times, and be able to pursue that. So, that, and before anyone says, I don't know what the real world is like, I've lived the past 8 years by myself in DC, so please don't. I'm not someone who's lived with my parents forever, so. So yeah. So yeah, you can cut back on happy hour with your friends. Do you really need to spend that extra money or time? You can come back on watching the shows that you watch every week. I don't really watch or follow any single TV shows. And again, that's like something that's like habitual in my life. That's the result of like years of how I've conditioned myself to not really be dependent on entertainment, like in the form of television that much, or at all. I've not owned a TV in the past many places I've lived, and I also don't watch TV now that I have a TV. Like, I rarely watch it. And if I didn't have it at all, I would be perfectly content. So that hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a week that you're spending watching mindless television could go to building your online business, could go to practicing your craft, could go to going to that open mic every week, to practice your stand-up, your poetry, your singing. That's something you can cut out. You can cut out your expensive shoes, your jewelry, your whatever you've normalized. Like, you don't need these things. Be okay with being frugal and cheap for a while. Just be okay with it. Be okay with not being social for a while. I rarely go out on weekends now. Like, because right now I'm in grind mode. Like, I'm in mode in my life where these are critical years in my life where it's like I consider I have to really give it my all, even though it doesn't matter how old you are or where you are in your life. I've just decided for myself mentally that these are critical years of my life that I want to devote to pursuing my passion, so that by the time I'm this age, I can say that I am doing this full time, fully. And right now, I don't remember the last time I went out with a friend. I'm not saying to be this as extreme as I am, because I wasn't always this extreme, but I'm just telling you this is what I'm doing right now. Um, I do really take care of myself, and I do find time for leisure, but it's what works for me and what allows me to kind of energize myself. I like love music. I love eating good food, eating at good restaurants. So that's the kind of things that I do for myself. But I don't go out to drink. I don't have many plans on weekends because I spend a lot of time doing my thing. Um, so lifestyle change is not just a negative of taking out. It's also, sorry, I sounded really serious for a while. I was like, do this, don't do this. I don't mean to sound that serious. Um, it's also adding in things that are, it's like the turtle and the hare story. You don't want to operate on full hare mode and then burn out and be taken over by the turtle. You want to pace yourself too, and that's where health and fitness come in, right? That's where, hello? That's where health and fitness come in. That's where, spending a little bit more time in the day, exercising or making a nice meal for yourself. There's just like a long-term value in that, otherwise you're gonna go so hard and get sick or crash and burn, or you're gonna have all these illnesses at an earlier age. And I see that happening to some of my friends already. It's crazy. And that's gonna put these brakes on your dream in a way that you can't even control at this point because your health is just ah. So invest in that, even if it takes up more time and money in your life. I like to make a lot of nice foods for myself using really nice ingredients and take nice like vitamins and exercise every single day, run, do yoga, and like oftentimes that could be perceived as like, oh, I could spend those hours on something else, like pursuing my dream or making more money or whatever. But I see it partly because I've seen a lot of people in life, in my own life, with really debilitating health issues, and I see how your health can limit you. So, I see like the value of the investment in myself and my health now. So that seems kind of unrelated to how to get off the conveyor belt lifestyle, but I mean, especially if you watch Ralph Waters and Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart, Ralph Waters, Ralph Smart and Infinite Waters, Diving Deep, the value of investing in your health. It's like a whole big spiritual thing, which is some people actually the core of everything, not just like a peripheral commitment, but like the core. And then, going down the list, hopefully I haven't lost too many of you by now. This is actually a big one, and a lot of people may think that this is sometimes like just kind of like not to be taken as seriously, but for me it's central. Because after all, let me just say what it is, which is stop caring what others think and say. And what I was about to say is like, why else do so many people, despite how unhappy they are, continue to stay on the conveyor belt lifestyle? Is because a lot of people are so desperate for societal acceptance. They care so much about what other people think of them that you know, they truly, you know, would rather be in misery than be socially misunderstood, which has always been foreign to me because I've actually been kind of weird for a long time and kind of like unique for a long time. So maybe it's like because I'm so conditioned to it from a young age that I've just kind of, I have that like muscle that I can like, that's like stronger now, that I can just care less when people tell me, wait, what are you doing with your life? Like, you know, why at this age did you move back with your parents? Or, you know, why aren't you even considering marriage yet? Or why are you making so little money? Like, because they don't understand the bigger dream. They don't understand, like, the whole 10,000 hours thing. They don't understand, like, they don't get the world outside of, um, the conveyor belt, which is consistency, predictability, being able to place you. If they can't place you, they might judge you as being crazy and will ask you a million questions. If you are someone that can endure that those questions, kind of laugh it off or really just not take it personally, then you are someone that is going to be more likely to break away from the conveyor belt lifestyle. If you are someone that becomes paralyzed and feels like that you are what someone else thinks of you and asks the questions they ask you, then you are likely probably going to be on the conveyor belt for for a long time, if not the rest of your life. You know, one example of this is that I've often had like weird jobs to support my passions, and even despite having like a prestigious degree from GW, and to do those things, I've had to have weird jobs or things that people don't understand, but I've done them in spite of it all. Like, I've done those jobs in spite of, I'm sorry, in spite of the constant judgment, questions, you know, all these things that are definitely very prevalent in not only society, but especially South Asian community, where it's very collectivist culture. You know, a lot of groupthink involved, a lot of, you know, social exacerbated pressures. So, you know, I have dealt with the range. So yeah, you know, this also requires that to stop caring about what others think. Sometimes, even your own peers, like, you have to move away from their comments and judgments and snarkiness, like, or even if you're trying to make it as a singer, and you know, you think that you'll be safe around other singers. It's not the case. It's, you have to be okay with, you know, a person who's younger than you, who's much more monetarily successful than you, looking at you as if you're crazy for wanting to pursue what you're wanting to pursue. You have to be okay with that. So it's not that judgment just only comes from people who aren't doing what you want to do or who aren't like you. Judgment comes from your peers, a lot of different people. So you really have to just kind of, all this you can do easily with, if you just kind of put the focus on yourself, kind of put the focus on your life, your passions, your interests, your goals. And if you just think about them, they'll become so interesting to you. And that's really key point, interest. You have to make your life the most interesting thing, so that even when you are hit with negativity or judgment, you still find yourself so enchanted and fascinated and wonder about your life that it doesn't really even last very long if they do kind of get under your skin for a bit. Make yourself the focus. Make yourself the focus. Get off social media like I have. Get off Facebook. Get off the mindset of comparing yourself, that if you're, not here by this age and making this much money by this degree or whatever, that you're somehow behind, because that mentality will further sink you into a conveyor belt lifestyle, and you have to rewire your brain almost. You have to rewire your brain. So that's a big thing. So right after the whole stop caring about what other people think, I want to talk about something that might sound counterintuitive, which is having mentorship and guidance. So you can't live with the mentality that, I don't care about anyone, I'm the only person I listen to. To excel in a field or whatever, it's important to have role models, people who are excelling in their craft, so you can learn, so you can gauge the field, you can, know the game, the landscape. Like, you have to, so it's a hard thing to describe without it sounding competitive. For example, I learn from a lot of writers, a lot of creatives, even subconsciously. I surround myself with people and work that I really look up to and consider high caliber work, because I have so much to learn from these people. I watch performance poets, how they are on stage, sometimes over and over, because I'm taking in the small nuances of how to deliver a piece of poetry on stage, of how to, enunciate the tone, the pauses, the body language, the way you present your body, your shoulders, your legs, your movement, like how you look at the audience, everything. Again, that's very specific, but, that has to do with being a student, is what I'm saying. Learning, like thinking that you need this sort of team, even if it's not a tangible team where like you have someone that you can meet with every single day or every week or month. People that you're listening to, reading up on, there's so many resources out there now, online, on books, and in person, that are for free, that you can learn from. Like, there are so many free e-courses online. Like, there's such little excuses now to not learn something that you're curious about, because there's so many free resources thanks to the age of the internet. People, self-teach themselves like instruments now and become like YouTube like stars, or like, social media sensations. Like, it's mind-boggling, like things that could have never happened before. So mentorship, role models, masters of craft, that is really important. Not so you can copy them, but so you can learn technique, so you can learn, just have, everyone needs this. Even the best that are the best now, they had their own mentors, like, I've gone through quite a list. I'm 38 minutes in, probably lost a lot of you. But I want to make a final point, and maybe I'll make a video part 2, because I haven't even covered everything, is consistency. That a lot of people think, well, I tried this, but I didn't make any money off of it, or I didn't really see any outcome, so I gave up, and now I'm back doing what I hate. That's a wrong mentality to have, because oftentimes I find people put timelines on their goals and dreams. And although you should have deadlines and goals, you shouldn't have timelines. What I mean is, like, I will be writing for the rest of my life regardless of whether or not someone pays me. Like that, there's no timeline on that dream of wanting to be a writer. Whether that's going to financially sustain me or not is a whole different story, and I have other work to be able to sustain my life so that I can have time for writing in my life, hopefully. But I don't have the mentality that, like, by the time I'm 30, and if I don't write a best-selling book, I'm just going to give up on it, because, it just didn't work out, and I gave it everything I had, and no one cared, and no one bought my book, and blah 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 blah. That is the wrong mentality, and likely you're going to lose. You're definitely going to stay stuck in the conveyor belt lifestyle. Because when you're doing something, you're doing it because you like it at face value, you enjoy doing it every day, not because the money it brings you, the recognition it brings you, the prestige it brings you. Although eventually it could bring you those things, the goal has to be that you enjoy doing it, like the process, what the Greeks call eudaimonia, the Greek word for happiness, something that in its daily task nature of doing the task, you find the enjoyment. For me, the process of writing and coming up with spoken word pieces and performing is enjoyable in and of itself. And having a lifestyle where I can do those things, period, is a win, let alone maybe one day being able to do those things full time and get paid for them. That's a whole different level of a win. But I'm already feeling like I'm winning, like I'm a winner. Because I can do those things. And do them better and better and better each day. Whew. So yeah, consistency. Do not give up after X number of days, months, years, just because you aren't where you want to be. And don't overwhelm yourself. Do a little bit every day. Maybe if you want to become an entrepreneur, you can start off by spending 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day on your business until it kind of has more of a momentum. You don't have to overhaul your entire life and put all this pressure onto this one thing that may or may not reap any monetary rewards for years, actually. So you have to want to enjoy doing the thing without all the external things. And actually, before I end the video, I finally want to say this, is strategize, because I know a lot of people will think I was being too lofty in this video, is that you have to have a strategy. How are you going to go about executing it? What are you, going to do? If you want to set a strategy, I'm going to do this once a week, once a day, I'm going to try to save money in this way and not do this, not be obsessive. I don't really keep track of my expenses or anything like that much, but I did make a grand leap of just moving home, so I didn't have to pay rent for a while. My parents were nice enough to let me come here. And that's a big strategic move. That's majorly strategy, right? I want to be able to have the life that I can live, so in the meantime, I'm trying to be resourceful, be mindful of where my money is going, how I can save it, what kind of work I'm doing as a freelancer now. So yeah, that's a big part of execution. It's not just to sit with your dreams, is a strategy. And I try to write every single day. Not try, I actually just naturally write every single day. It's just so natural to me. I try to perform very consistently. I try to consistency, strategy, character value system, alternative vision to conveyor belt lifestyle, stop caring about what other people think, mentorship. Last note I will leave on, move in increments, but have a dream that is a leap. The dream has to be a leap, but the strategy has to be increments. And you'll be guided by the bigger dream. That's how you'll know what the strategy should be. Big leap, bold, majorly insane dream, but very tactical, incremental. Sometimes you'll be set back a few steps, some days. Strategy to the dream. Don't know if that was helpful at all, but it's helped me. And I hope that even one point was helpful to you. Message me if you want to talk personally, and thank you for watching my video. Bye.